Captain Daewon stood in the massive chamber of the Galactic Council, trying to keep his face calm. Around him, hundreds of alien species sat in their designated seats. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living crystal that glowed softly. The Vrexians, large reptilian creatures with sharp teeth, sat in the seats of honor near the front. Daewon had been coming to these meetings for 5 years now. Every time he asked for the same things: permission to settle new planets, fair trade agreements, equal rights for human colonies, and every time the council said no or gave humans something much smaller than what other species received. Today was no different. The human request for colonization rights on Sector 7 worlds is denied, announced the council speaker, a floating jellyfish-like creature. Those worlds are reserved for species with proper defensive capabilities. Daewon bowed politely. We understand. Thank you for considering our request. Behind him, he heard Hyun-sik shift uncomfortably. His military advisor hated these meetings. Hyun-sik thought humans should demand respect, not beg for scraps. But that was not the human way. Not anymore. Not for the last 200 years. After the meeting ended, Daewon and Hyun-sik walked through the crystal corridors toward their ship. Ambassador Mi-sun was waiting for them, her dark eyes showing frustration. Another rejection? She asked. Another rejection, Daewon confirmed. Mi-sun sighed. She was Earth's chief diplomat, responsible for all human relations with the galaxy. She had held this position for 15 years, and every year seemed harder than the last. The Vrexians laughed when you left, she said quietly. I heard them through my translator. They called us the soft pink weaklings who smile while being stepped on. Hyun-sik's jaw tightened. Ambassador, how much longer must we endure this? We have the power to demand respect. The technology, the weapons, everything we need to make them understand that humans are not weak. We are following the politeness protocol, Mi-sun replied firmly. It has kept us safe for 2 centuries. The galaxy does not need to know what humanity is truly capable of. Hyun-sik looked like he wanted to argue, but he stayed silent. The politeness protocol was not just a suggestion. It was the foundation of Earth's entire galactic strategy. 200 years ago, when humanity first met alien life, Earth's leaders made a choice. They saw how the galaxy worked. The strong species took what they wanted. The weak species served or died. Wars happened constantly. Entire civilizations were destroyed over resources and pride. Humanity looked at this galaxy and realized something important. They were newcomers. They had technology that could compete with anyone. Their weapons were efficient and deadly. Their ships were fast and strong. But if humanity showed their true strength right away, they would be seen as a threat. The powerful species would unite against them. There would be war. So Earth's government created the politeness protocol. Humanity would hide most of their military power. They would act weak, diplomatic, and friendly. They would accept unfair treatment with smiles. They would build relationships slowly. And if anyone ever pushed too far, humanity would have the element of surprise. For 200 years it worked. Humanity grew. They established colonies on 40 worlds. They traded with hundreds of species. Human scientists learned alien technology and made it better. Human engineers built weapons in secret. Weapons the galaxy had never seen. And all the while, the galaxy thought humans were just another weak species good for trading and nothing else. Daewon understood the protocol. He believed in it. But he also saw the cost. Humanity swallowed insults daily. Young humans grew up being taught to bow and smile to species that mocked them. Human colonies received less protection because other species thought humans could not defend themselves. When they reached their ship, a message was waiting. Daewon saw Mi-sun's face go pale as she read it. What is it? He asked. Mi-sun's hand shook slightly. New Jeju colony. It has been attacked. The words hit Daewon like a physical blow. New Jeju was a farming colony on the edge of human space. 50,000 people lived there, families, children, people who had left Earth to build a new life among the stars. Who attacked them? Hyun-sik demanded. Vrexian raiders, Mi-sun said, her voice hollow. The colony defense system sent a distress signal 6 hours ago. By the time our nearest ship arrived, everyone was dead. The entire colony was destroyed. Daewon felt something cold settle in his stomach. 50,000 people. 50,000, Mi-sun confirmed. Hyun-sik's face had gone hard as stone. This was not random raiders. The Vrexians wanted to test us. They wanted to see if we would finally fight back. Mi-sun looked at both of them. I need to report this to Earth Command immediately. This changes everything. They traveled back to Earth in silence. Daewon kept thinking about New Jeju. He had visited that colony 2 years ago. He remembered the farms, the schools, the parks where children played. He remembered meeting families who were so proud to be part of humanity's expansion into the stars. Now they were all gone. When they arrived at Earth's capital, the emergency government session had already begun. Leaders from every nation sat in the chamber. Military commanders stood at attention. This was the moment everyone had feared and perhaps some had been waiting for. Fleet Admiral Taesung spoke first. He was a tall man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. For 200 years we have maintained the politeness protocol. We have hidden our strength. We have endured insults and unfair treatment. We did this to avoid war, to build a future where humanity could thrive without constant conflict. He paused, and his next words were heavy. But the Vrexians have crossed a line. They have murdered 50,000 of our people. They did this because they believe we are too weak to respond. If we do nothing, other species will think the same. More attacks will come. The Earth President stood. She was an older woman named Bo-Ra, who had led Earth through many peaceful years. What do you recommend, Admiral? We give them one warning, Taesung said. One chance to make this right. If they refuse, we show the galaxy who humanity really is. The vote was swift. Earth's government agreed. The politeness protocol would be suspended. Humanity would issue an ultimatum. Ambassador Mi-sun would return to the Galactic Council. She would demand justice. She would give the Vrexians 72 hours to respond, and if they did not, humanity would stop being polite. As Daewon prepared to return to the Council, he reviewed classified files he had never been allowed to see before, files showing Earth's true military strength, the hidden fleets, the advanced weapons, the technology that could change the balance of galactic power. He realized something that made him feel both proud and sad. Humanity had always been strong enough to demand respect. They had chosen kindness instead. They had chosen peace, but kindness had limits, and those limits had just been reached. Ambassador Mi-sun walked into the Galactic Council chamber with her head held high. Behind her came Captain Daewon and a security team. The chamber went quiet as humans took their usual seats in the back row. The council speaker floated forward. Ambassador Mi-sun, we heard about the unfortunate incident at your colony. Please accept our sympathies. Sympathies are not enough, Mi-sun said, her voice clear and strong. I am here to demand justice. A rumble of surprise went through the chamber. Humans did not demand things. Humans asked politely and accepted whatever answer they received. The Vrexian warlord stood up. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, covered in dark scales. His name was Krex, and he commanded the Vrexian military forces. The attack was done by rogue elements. We do not control every ship in our space. These things happen in frontier territories. These things happen. Mi-sun's voice was cold now. 50,000 human lives, families, children, and you call it these things? Krex showed his teeth in what might have been a smile. If humans cannot defend their colonies, perhaps they should stay closer to their homeworld. The frontier is dangerous for weak species. Daewon watched Mi-sun's hands curl into fists, but her voice remained steady. We have evidence that this attack was planned, that it was sanctioned by Vrexian High Command, that it was a test to see if humanity would respond. Lies, Krex said flatly. You have no proof. Mi-sun nodded to Lieutenant Jia, who stepped forward with a data pad. Jia was young but brilliant. She worked in Earth's intelligence division. For weeks she had been analyzing the attack. We recovered the raider ship's communication logs, Jia said. They received orders from a Vrexian military command station. Here are the transmissions. She played the audio. The Vrexian language filled the chamber, and the translators converted it to common speech. The words were clear. Attack the human colony. Leave no survivors. We need to know if the humans will finally show teeth or continue to roll over. The chamber erupted in noise. Some species looked shocked. Others looked uncomfortable. The Vrexians sat in angry silence. Krex recovered quickly. Those transmissions could be faked. Human technology is known for good computers. They are not fake, Jia said quietly. And we have more evidence. Genetic material from your warriors left at the scene. Ship identification codes, financial records showing payment from Vrexian government accounts. The council speaker turned to Krex. These are serious accusations. What is your response? Krex was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. Even if some of this is true, what do humans expect? War? The Vrexian fleet is the third strongest in the galaxy. Humans have 40 colonies and maybe 100 ships. Do you truly want to fight us? Misun stepped forward. We want justice. Here are our demands. Return the bodies of our dead so families can give them proper burial. Surrender all individuals responsible for planning and executing this attack. Pay full reparations to the victim families. You have 72 hours to comply. The chamber went completely silent. Everyone stared at Misun. Humans did not give ultimatums. Humans did not make demands with deadlines, Krex laughed. It was a deep rumbling sound. Or what, you will file a complaint? Write a strongly worded letter. Humans are merchants and diplomats. You are not warriors. Misun's eyes were like ice. 72 hours, Warlord Krex. This is your only warning. She turned and walked out of the chamber. Day One and the security team followed. Behind them, the council dissolved into chaos as species argued about what they had just witnessed. On their ship, Misun finally let her calm mask slip. She sat down heavily and put her face in her hands. That went better than expected, Day One said quietly. He will not comply, Misun said. He cannot. If he gives in to human demands, every species will see Vrexian weakness. He will refuse, and then Earth will have to follow through. Earth is ready, Day One replied. Misun looked up at him. Are we? For 200 years we have built our reputation on peace. After this, everything changes. The galaxy will fear us instead of dismiss us. Is that better? Day One did not have an answer. The 72 hours passed slowly. Earth Command brought in survivors from New Jeju Colony. There were only 12. They had been in underground shelters when the attack happened. One of them was Young Su, a farmer who had lived on New Jeju for 30 years. Admiral Tae-sung asked him to give testimony. Earth Command wanted everyone to understand what happened, why this mattered. Young Su stood in front of cameras that broadcast to every human world. His face was hollow with grief. I heard the explosions above, he said, his voice shaking. We were in the emergency shelter. My wife and daughter were up in the house. I heard them screaming over the communicator. They begged me to help them. But if I left the shelter, I would die too. So I stayed. I listened to them die. He stopped, tears running down his face. The Vrexians landed after the bombing. I could hear them through the shelter's sensors. They were laughing, making jokes about how easy it was. How humans died just like the animals we farmed. Young Su looked directly at the camera. They think we are weak. They think we will do nothing. Please prove them wrong. My wife was named Hana. She taught music to colony children. My daughter was Yuna. She was 8 years old. She wanted to be a scientist. They deserved better than this. We all deserve better. The testimony was played on every news station. Humans across 40 worlds watched it. Many cried. Some became angry. All of them waited to see what Earth would do. In the Galactic Council, Krex made his official response at the 70-hour mark. He stood before the assembled species and spoke clearly. The Vrexian Empire acknowledges that some elements may have been involved in the New Jeju incident. As compensation, we offer 50,000 credits to be divided among survivor families. This is generous, as frontier colonization involves accepted risks. 50,000 credits. 1 credit per dead human. It was an insult wrapped in contempt. Furthermore, Krex continued, we suggest that humanity reconsider expansion into frontier space. If you lack the military strength to defend your people, you should remain in safer territories. The council speaker looked toward where human delegates sat. Does Earth accept this resolution? Ambassador Misun stood slowly. She looked tired, but her voice was strong. No, we do not. Then what will you do? Krex asked, still amused. File another complaint? Misun looked at him for a long moment. Then she spoke words that had been approved by every nation on Earth. Warlord Krex, you were given a warning. You chose to ignore it. You chose to treat human lives as worthless. You chose to test whether humanity would fight back. She paused. Now you will learn the answer. She pressed a button on her communicator. Across all galactic communication channels, a message began broadcasting. It was Admiral Tae-sung speaking from Earth Command. To all species of the Galactic Council, the Admiral said, for 200 years humanity has pursued peace. We have accepted unfair treatment. We have swallowed insults. We have built our reputation on diplomacy and patience. We did this because we hope to build genuine friendships across the stars. His face hardened. But some species mistook our patience for weakness, our diplomacy for cowardice, our desire for peace for inability to wage war. You were wrong. The Vrexian Empire murdered 50,000 human civilians. They laughed about it. They offered insults instead of justice. They assumed we would do nothing because we have always done nothing. Admiral Tae-sung leaned forward. We gave them 72 hours to make this right. That time has expired. The politeness protocol is now suspended. Humanity will show the galaxy who we truly are. To the Vrexian Empire we say this: we tried to be polite. You mistook our kindness for weakness. That ends now. The transmission ended. The Galactic Council chamber was absolutely silent. Krex looked confused. What does this mean? Are humans truly threatening war? Your fleet cannot possibly... He stopped talking because every sensor screen in the chamber suddenly lit up with alerts. Ships were decloaking across Vrexian space. Not 10 ships. Not 50 ships. 200 human warships materialized simultaneously, surrounding every major Vrexian military installation. Ships that the galaxy never knew existed. Ships that had been hiding, waiting for 200 years. Daewon watched Krex's face change from confusion to understanding to fear. For the first time, the mighty Vrexian warlord looked uncertain. What have you done? Krex whispered. Misun's voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. We stopped being polite. Commander Sujin stood on the bridge of the Soul's Vengeance, watching her tactical display light up with targets. Her ship was one of 200 that had just revealed themselves to the galaxy. For 5 years, she had been stationed in deep space, maintaining silence, waiting for orders that might never come. Now those orders had arrived. All weapon systems online, reported her tactical officer. Quantum disruptors charged. Kinetic strike packages ready. Target lock on Vrexian military headquarters, confirmed her navigation officer. Sujin looked at the planet below, Vrexia Prime, homeworld of the species that had laughed at humanity for 2 centuries. The species that had murdered 50,000 humans and called it a test. Her communicator chimed. Admiral Tae-sung's face appeared on screen. All ships, this is command, the Admiral said. You are authorized to engage. Targets are military only. Repeat, military targets only. No civilian casualties. We are not here to become monsters. We are here to deliver justice. Execute Operation Reckoning. Understood, Admiral, Sujin replied. Soul's Vengeance beginning attack run. She turned to her crew. You heard the Admiral. These are the people who killed New Jeju Colony. Let us show them what happens when you murder humans. Her ship dove toward the planet. Around her, dozens of other human vessels did the same. The Vrexian planetary defense systems activated immediately, filling space with weapons fire. But the Vrexian weapons were designed to fight other galactic species. They were not prepared for human technology. Deploying quantum disruption field, announced Engineer Quan from his station. Quan was brilliant, one of Earth's top weapons specialists. He had spent 10 years perfecting the systems on this ship. The quantum disruptors activated. Vrexian missiles simply stopped working. Their guidance systems failed. Their explosives became inert. Defense satellites went dark as their power systems collapsed. How are they doing this? Sujin heard a Vrexian commander screaming over the captured communication channels. What is this technology? Humans had discovered quantum entanglement manipulation 40 years ago. The galaxy thought it was impossible. Humanity had let them think that while building weapons based on the principle. Targets locked, her weapons officer confirmed. Ready to fire. Fire, Sujin ordered. The Soul's Vengeance released a kinetic strike package. Metal rods, each one the size of a small house, accelerated to near light speed. They hit the Vrexian military headquarters with the force of nuclear weapons, but left no radiation. Just pure kinetic energy that turned fortified bunkers into craters. Across Vrexia Prime, other human ships struck other military targets. Command centers. Weapons factories. Spaceports that housed Vrexian war fleets. Within the first hour, the Vrexian military infrastructure was burning. In orbit, the Vrexian war fleet attempted to respond. 300 warships, the pride of the Vrexian Empire, moved to engage the human vessels. Admiral Tae-sung watched from his flagship, the Incheon Thunder. Deploy the drone swarms, he ordered. Each human ship released thousands of small drones. They were barely larger than a human hand, but each one contained a compact AI and enough explosive to cripple a warship's critical systems. The Vrexian fleet tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. The drones moved too fast, coordinated by quantum computers that calculated 10,000 tactical scenarios per second. They found weak points in Vrexian ship armor. They targeted engines, weapons arrays, life support systems. Within 2 hours, the Vrexian fleet was crippled. Dead in space. Crews evacuating in escape pods. All Vrexian military vessels are disabled, Admiral, reported his tactical officer. 0 casualties on our side. Good, Taesung said. Now comes the difficult part. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the assembled species watched in horror as the battle unfolded on their viewing screens. The supposedly weak humans were dismantling the third strongest military in the galaxy like it was nothing. How? The Luminar ambassador kept whispering. How do they have this technology? The Hive Collective representative was silent, its compound eyes fixed on the screens. It was calculating, reassessing, understanding that everything it knew about humanity was wrong. Warlord Krek stood frozen, watching his empire's military collapse. His face had gone pale under his scales. Ambassador Misun stood quietly in the human section. She felt no joy watching this destruction, but she felt no regret either. This was necessary. This was justice. On Vrexia Prime, Commander Sujin received new orders. Soul's Vengeance, proceed to Coordinates Alpha 7. You are to demonstrate the Graviton Collapse weapon. Sujin felt her stomach tighten. The Graviton Collapse was humanity's most frightening weapon. It had never been used in combat before. But Earth Command wanted to send a message. A clear, unmistakable message about what humanity could do if pushed. Proceeding to Coordinates, she confirmed. The target was the Vrexian Battle Station Guardian. It was a massive military installation in space, the size of a small moon. Weapons and armor covered every surface. 5,000 Vrexian warriors were stationed there. Evacuate the station, Admiral Taesung broadcast. You have 15 minutes. Any crew remaining after that are considered hostile combatants. Vrexian escape pods began launching immediately. They had seen what human weapons could do. They did not want to test whether the humans were bluffing. Exactly 15 minutes later, sensors confirmed the station was empty. Fire the Graviton Collapse device, Taesung ordered. Engineer Quan activated the weapon from his station. It was not a missile or a beam. It was a localized manipulation of gravity itself. The device created a point of infinite gravitational pull, like a tiny black hole. The Guardian battle station, millions of tons of metal and technology, began to collapse. It folded in on itself, crushed by artificial gravity. Within 30 seconds, the entire station was compressed into a sphere the size of a basketball. Then even that collapsed into nothing, leaving only a faint distortion in space. Every species in the galaxy that was watching felt a cold chill. Humanity had just demonstrated the power to delete matter from existence. In the council chamber, the Luminar ambassador spoke quietly. They could do this to planets. To stars, yes, Misun confirmed. She wanted everyone to understand. We could. We have been able to do this for 20 years. But we chose not to. We chose diplomacy instead. We chose to build friendships. And what did we get? We got insults. We got unfair treatment. We got our people murdered. She looked around the chamber. Humanity did not want this. We tried to be part of your galactic community peacefully, but the Vrexians decided to test us. So we showed them the truth. We are not weak. We never were. On Vrexia Prime, Captain Daewon led a team to the surface. They were there to oversee the occupation and ensure reparations were paid. But they were also there to provide humanitarian aid. Human medical ships had already landed. Human doctors were treating Vrexian civilians injured in the strikes. Human engineers were helping restore power to civilian areas. Daewon met with a Vrexian civilian administrator named Krell. The administrator looked terrified. You will destroy our world? Krell asked. No, Daewon said firmly. We struck military targets only. Your civilians are not our enemies. Your children are not responsible for what your leaders did. We are here to make sure war criminals face justice and your people pay for what was taken from us. But we are not here to commit genocide. Krell looked confused. Why? We are your enemies. You have the power to destroy us completely. Because we are not you, Daewon replied. Humanity learned a long time ago on our own world. What happens when the powerful destroy the weak? It makes everyone worse. We have the power to kill, yes, But we also have the wisdom to show mercy when appropriate. He looked Krell in the eyes. Your military leaders will be tried for war crimes. Your empire will pay reparations, but your people will survive. Your children will grow up. That is the difference between humanity and species like the Vrexians used to be. Back in space, Admiral Tae-sung received reports from all fronts. The entire operation had taken 6 hours. 6 hours to cripple the third strongest military in the galaxy. 0 human casualties. Minimal Vrexian civilian casualties. Sir, we are receiving thousands of communications, his communications officer reported. Every species in the council wants to talk to us. Some are offering alliances. Some are asking about our intentions. Some are, she paused. Some are asking if we plan to conquer the galaxy. Tae-sung smiled grimly. Tell them we plan to do exactly what we have always done. Live peacefully, trade fairly, defend our people. The only thing that changed is now everyone knows we can defend ourselves. He opened a channel to all human ships. Attention all vessels. Phase 1 is complete. The Vrexian military has been neutralized. Begin Phase 2. Humanitarian aid to Vrexian civilians. Medical support. Infrastructure repair. Show the galaxy that humanity strikes with precision, but heals with compassion. In the council chamber, Ambassador Mi-sun prepared to address the assembled species. She knew that what she said next would define humanity's place in the galaxy for generations to come. She stepped forward into the speaking area. Every eye was on her. Today, humanity showed you our military strength, she began. We did this not because we wanted to, but because we had to. Because 50,000 of our people were murdered and justice demanded a response. 3 days after the Battle of Vrexia Prime, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Every major species was present. The tension in the chamber was so thick that even the atmosphere felt heavy. Ambassador Mi-sun walked to the center speaking platform. She was exhausted. For 72 hours she had been in constant meetings answering questions, dealing with threats and offers, explaining humanity's actions over and over. The council speaker addressed the chamber. We are here to discuss the human military action against the Vrexian Empire. Many species have questions, concerns, some have made accusations. Let them speak, Mi-sun said calmly. The Luminar ambassador rose first, the crystalline being glowed with agitation. You lied to us. For 200 years you pretended to be weak. You infiltrated our council under false pretenses. This is deception of the highest order. Mi-sun nodded. Yes, we deceived you. We hid our strength because we studied galactic history. Every time a powerful new species emerged, what happened? War, conquest, genocide. We did not want that. So we chose to appear weak while we learned about all of you. You studied us? The Hive Collective representative clicked angrily. You spied on us? Yes, Mi-sun admitted. We studied every species in the council. We learned your languages, your technology, your military capabilities, your cultures. We did this because we were one species entering a galaxy full of unknowns. That is called survival. A representative from the Keltar Union stood up. The Keltars were small, peaceful beings who relied on others for protection. But you have weapons that could destroy planets, stars. How do we know you will not use them against us? This was the question Mi-sun had been expecting. This was the fear that every species felt now. She took a deep breath. Because we have had these weapons for decades and never used them until forced to, she said. Because on our own world humans fought terrible wars. We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times. We learned the hard way that having power does not mean you should use it. We learned that peace is harder than war but infinitely more valuable. She gestured to the viewing screens which showed images from Vrexia Prime. Human doctors treating Vrexian wounded. Human engineers rebuilding infrastructure. Human soldiers protecting Vrexian civilians from looters. Look at what we are doing right now. We defeated the Vrexian military in 6 hours. We could have destroyed their entire civilization. Instead, we are helping them, healing them, making sure their civilians do not suffer for their leaders' mistakes. This is who humanity is. We have the power to destroy, yes, but we choose to build instead. Tactical Coordinator Haiwan stepped forward carrying a data pad. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a sharper mind. She had been Earth's strategic planning chief for a decade. If I may, Haiwan said, I would like to share some information, just so everyone understands the full situation. The council speaker gestured for her to proceed. For the last 200 years, humanity has been preparing, Haiwan began. Not for conquest, For survival, we assumed, correctly, that if the galaxy ever saw us as a threat, multiple species might attack us together. So we prepared contingencies. She activated her datapad. A holographic display appeared above the chamber showing the galaxy's major worlds. Our quantum computers cracked every council encryption system within our first 10 years of membership. We have read your classified military reports, your secret diplomatic communications, your strategic plans, all of it. A wave of shocked murmurs rippled through the chamber. Our antimatter production. Facilities produce more antimatter in 1 year than the entire Galactic Council produces in 10 years. Combined. More shocked reactions. Our AI systems are approximately 500 years more advanced than the next closest species. We have not shared this technology because, frankly, we are not sure the galaxy is ready for it. And finally, Haywan said quietly, we need to discuss the reckoning devices. She changed the holographic display. It now showed dots positioned around various planets throughout the galaxy. Many planets, including the homeworlds of every major council species. These are locations of what we call reckoning devices. They are planet-killer weapons. They have been in position for 15 years. Each one is capable of causing total extinction on a planetary scale. They are hidden, shielded from detection and hardened against tampering. The chamber erupted. Species shouted in multiple languages. Some demanded the devices be removed immediately. Others declared this an act of war. The Luminar ambassador's crystalline body glowed bright red with rage. Silence. The council speaker boomed. When the chamber quieted, Haywan continued. These devices exist for one reason, to ensure that no species ever attempts to destroy humanity. If Earth falls, if our colonies are attacked with planet-killer weapons, if someone tries to commit genocide against us, these devices activate automatically. And everyone dies together. This is madness, shouted the Hive representative. You would destroy the entire galaxy out of spite? No, Haywan said firmly. We would ensure that destroying humanity comes at an unacceptable cost. This is called mutually assured destruction. It is the same principle that kept peace on Earth during our most dangerous era. And it works. She looked around the chamber. But here is the important part. These devices have existed for 15 years. In all that time, have we ever threatened to use them? Have we ever used them for leverage in trade negotiations? To expand our territory? To gain power? Silence. No, we have not. Because we do not want to use them. We want to live peacefully, but we will not be victims. That is the message we are sending today. Ambassador Misoon stepped forward again. Humanity is not asking for your love. We are not asking for your trust, though we hope to earn it eventually. We are asking for respect, for equal treatment, for the same rights and opportunities given to every other species in this council. And in return, we offer you our protection, our technology, our alliance, but as equals, not as subordinates. Captain Daewan, who had been watching from the human delegation area, saw the calculations happening in real time on the faces of various ambassadors. They were weighing options, considering responses. Some looked angry. Some looked thoughtful. Some looked afraid. The Keltar Union representative spoke up again. What about the Vrexian situation? What happens now? Misun pulled up information on her own datapad. The Vrexian Empire is now under human oversight. We are not conquering them. We are administering justice. Here is what is happening. First, all individuals responsible for planning the new Jeju attack are being tried for war crimes. We have captured 73 military officers and officials involved. They will face fair trials. Second, the Vrexian Empire is paying full reparations, not 50,000 credits. Full compensation for every family that lost someone. Rebuilding costs for the colony. Compensation for trauma and suffering. The total comes to approximately 5 billion credits. Several ambassadors gasped. That was an enormous sum. Third, the Vrexian military is being restructured. They will maintain defensive capabilities, but their offensive fleet is being dismantled. They will not threaten their neighbors again for a generation at least. And finally, humanity is providing humanitarian aid. Medicine, food, technology, education. We are not here to make the Vrexian people suffer. We are here to make sure their leaders face consequences for their crimes. Warlord Krex, who had been sitting in defeated silence, finally spoke. His voice was hollow. We thought you were prey. We thought we could do whatever we wanted to you. We were wrong. Yes, Misun said simply. You were wrong. The council speaker floated forward. This session will adjourn for 3 days while species consult with their governments. When we reconvene, we will vote on several proposals. First, whether to accept humanity's new status. Second, whether to demand removal of the reckoning devices. Third, whether to revise council structure to accommodate human requests for equal representation. As the session ended, various ambassadors approached Mi-sun. Some offered quiet congratulations. Some made veiled threats. Some simply wanted to understand what had happened. The Keltar representative, a small creature named Pilk, came up to her. "Ambassador Mi-sun, I must ask. If you had this power all along, why did you let the Vrexians insult you for so long? Why did you accept unfair treatment?" Mi-sun smiled tiredly. "Because we hoped it would not come to this. We hoped that by being patient, by being kind, we could change how the galaxy works. We wanted to prove that strength does not require cruelty, that power can coexist with compassion. Did it work?" Pilk asked. "I don't know yet," Mi-sun admitted. "Ask me in 100 years." Back on Earth, the reaction to the revelation of humanity's true power was mixed. Some celebrated. Some felt betrayed that their government had hidden so much. Some worried about what came next. Admiral Tae-sung addressed the people of Earth in a broadcast. "I know many of you are concerned. You are wondering if we have become the very thing we fought against in our own history. Tyrants, oppressors, those who use power without wisdom. Let me be clear. Humanity's goal has not changed. We want peace. We want to explore the stars. We want to build a future where our children can thrive. But we will not sacrifice our people's safety to maintain a false image of weakness. The galaxy knows the truth now. We are strong. We are capable." 3 months had passed since the Battle of Rexia Prime. The galaxy was still adjusting to its new reality. Humanity was no longer the quiet, weak species that sat in the back of council chambers. They were now recognized as one of the most powerful forces in known space. Admiral Tae-sung stood in the council chamber, but not in the human delegation area. He stood at the front wearing a new uniform. The Galactic Council had created a position that had not existed in their 5,000-year history. Supreme Military Commander of Council Forces, and they had offered it to him. "This is unprecedented," the council speaker had said during the private meeting. "We have never had a single commander over all council military forces. But circumstances have changed. We need unity. We need strength. And we need a commander that every species respects, or fears." Tae-sung had not wanted the position. He was a soldier, not a politician. But Earth's leadership convinced him to accept. This was humanity's chance to reshape how the galaxy approached warfare and peace. Now 3 months later, he was presenting his first major initiative. "The Council's military has always been fragmented," Tae-sung explained to the assembled ambassadors. "Each species maintains their own fleet. Coordination is minimal. In times of crisis, it takes weeks to assemble a proper response. This must change." He activated a holographic display showing a new military structure. "I propose the Galactic Defense Initiative, a standing military force drawn from all species, trained together, equipped with shared technology. This force will be used only for defensive purposes, protecting colonies, responding to piracy, disaster relief." "And who controls this force?" asked the Luminar ambassador, still wary of human intentions. "A council of military leaders from every major species," Tae-sung replied. "No single species has ultimate control. All major decisions require majority vote. I serve as coordinator and strategic planner, but I cannot act alone." The Hive representative clicked thoughtfully. "And human technology? Will you share it with this defense initiative?" "Yes," Tae-sung confirmed. "But gradually and with safeguards. We will not hand over planet-killer weapons, but defensive systems, medical technology, improved ship designs. Yes, those we will share." It was a calculated risk. Earth's leadership had debated for weeks. Some argued that sharing technology would eliminate humanity's advantage. But Ambassador Mi-sun had made the winning argument. "We showed them our strength. Now we need to show them our wisdom. A galaxy where everyone has better defenses is safer for humanity too." While Tae-sung worked on military restructuring, Mi-sun was tackling diplomacy. She met with ambassadors from dozens of species, rebuilding relationships, establishing new trade agreements, creating alliances. The most important meeting was with the Keltar Union. The Keltars were peaceful, but they had significant influence with other small species. If humanity could secure their genuine friendship, many others would follow. Mi-sun sat across from Ambassador Pilk in a quiet garden on the Council space station. The small Keltar looked nervous. I will be honest, Pilk said. My people are afraid. You have weapons that could destroy us in moments. How do we trust you? Misun nodded. I understand your fear. Let me tell you something about human history. 400 years ago, my ancestors' nation possessed nuclear weapons. So did several other nations on Earth. We had the power to destroy our entire world, and we almost did several times. But we did not. We learned to trust each other, slowly, through agreements, through shared interests, through time. Eventually, those weapons were never used again. She leaned forward. The Keltar Union has something humanity needs. You are master terraformers. You can turn barren worlds into gardens. Humanity wants to expand, but we want to do it sustainably. We need your expertise. And in return? Pilk asked. In return, humanity guarantees Keltar security. Any species that threatens you threatens us. Your worlds will be protected by human defense systems, and we will share agricultural technology that will triple your food production. Pilk was silent for a moment, considering. This is not charity. This is exchange between equals. Exactly, Misun confirmed. That is all humanity ever wanted. To be treated as equals. Over the following weeks, similar agreements were made with other species. Humanity traded defensive technology to the peaceful species in exchange for cultural knowledge, scientific cooperation, and political support. They were building a coalition, not through threats but through mutual benefit. On Vrexia Prime, Captain Day-Wan was overseeing the final stages of reconstruction and justice. The war crimes trials had concluded. 73 Vrexian military officers and officials were found guilty. Warlord Krex himself received a life sentence, but the trials had been fair. Human judges, Vrexian defense attorneys, neutral species as observers. Evidence was presented clearly. The guilty were convicted. Several accused individuals were actually found innocent and released. This surprised many Vrexians. They had expected revenge, not justice. Day-Wan met with the new Vrexian leader, a civilian administrator named Kelsa. She was young for her species, appointed by Emergency Civilian Council after the military's disgrace. The reparations are being paid, Kelsa reported. Our economy is struggling, but we are managing, and your people have been generous with the humanitarian aid. Humanity does not want Vrexians to suffer, Day-Wan said. We wanted justice for our dead, we got it. Now we want to help your people rebuild. Why? Kelsa asked. We killed your people. We mocked you. We deserved everything you did to us and more. Day-Wan thought about how to explain. On Earth, we have a saying. Do not mistake kindness for weakness, but also do not mistake strength for cruelty. Humanity is strong enough to destroy you, but we are also wise enough to know that peace is built through forgiveness and cooperation, not through eternal punishment. He handed her a datapad. This contains proposals for trade agreements between Earth and Vrexia. Once your reparations are complete, once your military has been restructured for defense only, we would like to establish normal relations. Trade, cultural exchange, maybe even friendship in time. Kelsa looked at the datapad with something like wonder. You would trade with us? After everything? Your leaders were criminals. Your military was aggressive. But your civilians? Your children? They did nothing wrong. Why should they suffer forever? Back on Earth, a memorial was being built for New Jeju Colony. 50,000 names would be carved in stone. 50,000 lives that were lost. Young-Soo stood at the construction site watching the work. A young woman approached him. Her name was Min-Soo, and she was a reporter documenting the memorial's creation. Mr. Young-Soo, how do you feel about everything that has happened? The war, the trials, humanity's revelation of power? Young-Soo was quiet for a long moment. I lost everything on New Jeju. My wife Hana, who brought music to children. My daughter Yuna, who wanted to study the stars. For weeks after their deaths, I wanted revenge. I wanted the Vrexians to hurt like I hurt. And now, Min-Soo asked gently, now I see that humanity chose a better path. We did not commit genocide. We did not become monsters to fight monsters. We delivered justice and then we offered mercy. My wife would have wanted that. She always said that the measure of civilization is not how you treat your friends, but how you treat your enemies after defeating them. He touched the stone where his wife's name would be carved. This memorial will stand for 1,000 years. Future generations will look at these names and remember that these people died because someone thought humanity was weak. Remember that humanity proved that strength and mercy can coexist. Remember that we are better than those who hurt us. Admiral Taesung's reforms were beginning to show results. The Galactic Defense Initiative had recruited volunteers from 40 species. They were training together on a massive facility near Jupiter. Human instructors taught advanced tactics. Keltar instructors taught diplomacy and peaceful resolution. Brexian instructors, carefully selected from reformed military members, taught about the mistakes their species had made. Lieutenant Jia, who had helped gather evidence against the Vrexians, was now training mixed species intelligence teams. She taught them human intelligence gathering methods but also emphasized ethics and oversight. Information is power, she told her students, but power without wisdom is dangerous. Humanity learned that the hard way. We gathered intelligence on every species in the galaxy, but we used it for defense, not conquest. That is the difference between strength and tyranny. One of her students, a young Luminar named Prex, asked, "Do humans still spy on everyone?" Gia smiled. "Define spy. We still gather information. We still monitor communications. But now we share relevant intelligence with the Council. If we detect a pirate fleet, we report it. If we see a potential threat, we warn affected species. Transparency builds trust." On a human colony world called New Sol, a remarkable event was taking place. The first mixed human-alien settlement was being established. Keltar's humans and members of 3 other species were building a colony together. Shared resources, shared governance, shared future. Jinwoo, a young human officer, was assigned to the colony as security chief. At 25, he was part of the generation that grew up knowing humanity's true power. He had never experienced the old days of bowing and accepting insults.